Welcome to episode 1, season 6 of the podcast. We were just trying to figure out how many hours of recording we've done, and it's a lot. We'll have to celebrate when we reach 100 episodes, I think.
Yeah, I don't know how. What would you do?
With like
maybe special guests.
We're not cool enough to do giveaways.
Not yet. Hopefully by then.
We have nothing to give away, but we'll celebrate. We'll celebrate.
Hopefully by then.
Well, in this episode, we're going to have a catch up as Andy is now in Ireland. And I know he's been doing some exciting things.
Yeah, as he's diet face
posing. Yeah, no, literally as you came on, like you look very different.
Yeah, I know.
Well, yeah, guys who watch the YouTube, they'll see the cheekbones.
Clean shaven, cheekbones coming out. Can't say for us.
That's the thing though, like
good life.
Funny, I always laugh. It's one thing I hate, like when I lose weight, it always comes off the face first. So I get like my diet face in savage. Like by the end, I'll be horrible. My mum will be going. Like I remember last show, my mum like was shouting at Ollie. But I was watching a checking video of Ollie on my computer or phone. I can't remember which one. My mum thought it was a Zoom call, so she's shouting at it. I look so ill. It's like,
oh, that's such a typical mum thing to do.
I'm like, no, 40 years old woman, calm down. I'm all right.
I was reading that quite a few women get filler in their face, just because you do get so kind of gaunt looking, and I guess
a lot of women look, red diet face make them look like crack addicts.
Yeah. This was for the WBFF. So I guess they're judged for beauty as well.
So, all the pageant WBFF.
Yeah. So they were saying, especially the older women, sort of the 35 plus, would get fillers.
Wow.
But people just get fillers anywhere in the UK. Like in the UK, fillers is well normal now. People get fillers for everything. I know like young people in their 20s getting fillers.
It's that to me is just crazy. I mean, they're not. I think it's like hyaluronic acid, that stuff, which is, I mean, it is natural, but it's just
fine.
It just seems sad that you're 20 and you feel you've got to get fillers.
It's a bit like, I know loads of 20-year-olds getting Botox, but I understand why, because they see the stars who have Botox and they don't look like they've aged much, but when you're seeing them with full makeup on a TV set, which is where they're getting it wrong. But we get it, and it is preventative. But why? I don't understand. I do understand why people do it, because the pressure to look a certain way. Yeah. I just don't know why you're putting something like Botox into your face. Like literally, you're sticking botulism, a nerve-damaging agent into your skin to prevent you looking older. It's this sort of fear of getting older, I think. Like, generally there is a fear of aging. But that's because people used to age and get unhealthy. I think it's easy to be healthier and older now. And, there's plenty of people that look great for their age, as in, they look good. Like, not just even physique-wise. I've got a client who's 63 and she looks, her figure's amazing and she trains as hard as any of my other clients.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like, again, when you look at a lot of the women in WBFF and even whatever bodybuilding category, and they're 40, 50 plus and they look amazing. And I mean, whatever beauty treatments you want to do, I think that's fine. I just find it a bit sad if you're starting like in your late teens, 20s, but like
I agree with you there. I think do what you want. Is it's your body, your choice. It's just sad where we are as a society. There's so much pressure on younger people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
To one, not age. They want to look like they're in their early 20s, which we're kind of missing out. I think people do age, and get better with age, but to a certain degree, it's all downhill. But realistically, I do what you want, but it's just sad where we are. as a, I always said this. It wasn't like this when I was younger. Like we talk about pressures on men.
Yeah.
When I was younger, it just wasn't a factor. Like you didn't have to look. I remember I was probably about maybe 16, 17, 18, somewhere like that, where abs started getting talked about as guys should all have abs. Like, you were like fit and lean. Like I pretty much had abs at that age naturally, just because
sports.
I was lean.
Yeah,
I was just lean. I was just like exercising. I didn't. But I wasn't worried about what I was eating. I was just so busy, and I think that's the first time. What was his name? He was on I think Coronation Street. He started doing all these photos in magazines, and he had his abs out, and I think that was kind of like a big thing for guys. But before that, and even like women, like when I was growing up, it was still the same, but it was like that sort of Kate Moss look.
Yeah.
Like before, like the skinny sort of waif look, and I'm glad that's not recurrent in look. Because it's probably the least healthiest. Try to get skinny, and people with like I remember having, a girlfriend who her body shape just wasn't like that. She's probably loving life right now. She has slightly bigger glutes, broad shoulders from swimming. She looked great, hourglass figure, looked great, but she always wanted to look like someone like Kate Moss. She couldn't.
And you just
got why her bum's so big. I was like, your bum's great. It's meant to be big.
But
it's but that's one thing I'm glad changed a little bit.
Yeah, it's crazy though how it's different for men and women. For men, if I look at the magazines growing up and today, it's the same sort of look. For women, it's different.
That's true. Women's changes so much.
Either through, well, I guess depending on what clothes are trying to be sold, what products, but for men, it's, the usual abs, arms, shoulders. Well, legs, unless it's a bodybuilding magazine, but for, all the men's magazine, it's
the He-Man look.
Yeah. There's
like growing up, we had He-Man superheroes.
Oh, yeah.
there was, like, when I was younger, less pressure to look like that. We knew they were like superheroes.
Yeah.
Didn't expect that to be normal life. But then that started, now, that's just normal life. We got guys, just doing films, all of them, and this is what people don't realize. Guys in the movie industry and women are taking so many performance enhancing drugs to get ready for films.
Yeah, it's their job.
Like, you can look at them from one film to another. Just before, but, Hugh Jackman in Wolverine is a prime example of someone who dosed up massively, got huge and shredded for his film, and then went backwards. After Chris Hemsworth, got a generally good physique, but when you can see when he's in certain films, he's a little bit more jacked than others, and that's okay. People, films are there to be sold, and it's a business. But there's people watching, and the young guys, and I've talked about this. I watched some of that Love Island. It's a weird show, very weird show. But actually, I watch it now, but not. I don't watch it. I watch Paul Alima. That huge Instagram influencers, very funny, Irish. He plays rugby, Irish guy, lives in London, but he does. I've worked with James Smith. Does a lot of stuff with James Smith. He does like commentary of Love Island.
Yeah, the bold.
So watch his.
Bold.
Paul. Yeah. He's
a funny guy.
So I watch his commentary of Love Island because it's hilarious. Honestly, well.
I'm sure Clea has seen him. He's
he's everywhere.
Yeah, I'll show
okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I just don't know his name. But he's hilarious. So I watch that. But all the guys have touch a guy now. Like, because I know what's happened is they go into the house and they want to be shredded, so we take steroids up to the house. We're all young guys in their early 20s, mid-20s. And then suddenly we've been taking a lot, so estrogen levels are high. And suddenly we've got this drop off.
Yeah.
Because now we can't take any because they're on TV. And now we've all got like puffy nipples. All of them. I'm like,
oh boy.
But but it's like, constantly that is a pressure now for young guys. I know. I've been messaged by guys in their early 20s asking about steroids. And they're like, one, why are you asking me? Two, stop asking. Just concentrate on doing everything right, and you don't need steroids to look good at the beach. You don't need, steroids to look good in the club. But you can do that naturally. Just get jacked clubbing.
It's like we were talking with Wallace, and it's the way now. If you start telling someone, yeah, I started training when I was 16, they're like, how old are you now? 40, and you're like, crap.
I'm like, no,
So
I don't want
there's that.
Exactly, 100%.
Telling me
exactly right. I'm 40. I started training when I was 15. Maybe even a little bit older because my dad had a gym in the garage.
Yeah.
But like messing around. Takes time.
It's that mindset.
You don't need to. There's a difference between, and this is where I think social media is a slight issue. You've got more access to professional athletes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
More access to like men, classic physique guys, men's physique guys. People think that's the norm though.
Yeah.
And I think you see, and because of the way the algorithm works and the feeds work, you start looking at guys with abs. Like if you go to my search option, it's really weird. It's all bodybuilders with the odd random really muscular chick. I'm like, I don't know where it got.
Where did she come from?
Yeah, where you come from? No, but seriously, but that's how it works because it's linked. Because obviously a lot of my stuff's all about bodybuilding and muscle. So where I've looked at it before, it just keeps generating. So if you spend a lot of time scrolling and looking at people with abs, people look a certain way, that's all you'll start seeing in your feeds. You're looking, and then when you follow certain people, that's all you see in your story feed, your post feeds. So you end up creating a really negative environment for yourself if you are someone who isn't happy with the way they look, and you start looking at all these people, and then you start doubting the way you look because you've already got negative self-belief. You start looking at them and you're going, why don't I look like this? And I think for young people that's now the norm. I think social media, I was already a grown man by the time social media started. I think I got Facebook in 2007. Something like that. I was already 27 years old.
Yeah.
Because I know there's some Bebo or some other weird stuff for that, but I wasn't part of that, or MySpace.
Yeah. But I can imagine the pressure because I remember, all the magazines, and the goal was to look like Ronnie Coleman, and I was trying all the creatine ways, and I had no idea what steroids are, PEDs. Like I just thought, well, they're advertising that, so that must be it. So that is what I'm going to take, eat, and grow big. And now, now I'm just thinking in terms of if I was now and I've seen that on social media, and then now there's these drugs and you can get them here, probably thinking like, why not? It's
and that's the thing is it's a double-edged sword now because there's a lot of guys talking about steroids now online. Which is great for the educational side because a lot of them talk about it honestly and realistically.
Yeah.
But I also think the opposite side of that is it's more accessible. People think it's more normal.
Yeah.
And sadly, it is relatively normal for a lot of young guys to pick it up. So you're better off having the education. But it is just a way more accessible thing now. Geez, when I was younger, training in a gym, I wouldn't have dreamed going up to someone saying, do you know where you can get? Do you know where I can get something? Yeah.
It's straight up.
I get asked that all the time. I don't know why you want that. But anyway, I just wouldn't have ever thought in my head of approaching a guy in the gym and asking for steroids. It just wouldn't. Like, I used to train, and I think the pressure when I was younger wasn't to look a certain way; it was to be really fit.
Yeah.
Like, playing rugby, like I grew up in an era where people like Rob Howley, Neil Back were playing rugby, and you were told what scores they were getting on their fitness test, how much they could bench press, and some of these numbers just seemed obscene. I remember meeting Austin Healey, he played for England, did arm wrestling him in the bar in Paris. Yeah, pretty drunk. He was filming something, but it's quite good. But he was so good at arm wrestling. Then after that, I was like, how do I get better at arm wrestling? There's no intention of ever being an arm wrestler, but that's the sort of pressure I always felt growing up. It was like try and be fitter, stronger.
Yeah.
And it's like, how can I achieve that? How can I make that happen? But now you're like, well, all these guys taking performance enhancing drugs. That's the answer, obviously. When it's not actually the answer, people need to explain the hard yards before these top level pros start. Look at a lot of the guys, turn pro naturally, win pro shows naturally. Keon Pearson, he turned pro naturally. Ronnie Coleman was natural for years.
Yeah, he looked amazing.
Eddie posted a picture of himself today.
He
looks good. I'm like, wow.
Big ass arms.
Yeah.
His forearms, so like bigger than his biceps. I think. I couldn't work it out. I was like, he couldn't bend the angle.
So funny. And I guess it really is all about aesthetics now. And like you said, in the movies, you'll see Chris Hemsworth or whoever, Hugh Jackson, looking jacked. And they're like, oh, well, if they can do that in the space of a movie, so I can get jacked like, that. And then you hear someone being like, well, it actually takes 10 years. So
same with all the women. And, when you've got so much money in Hollywood and in films, in music and everything else, they want people to look a certain way. So I think all the women, like, I know people like Jennifer Aniston, they take a lot of growth hormone to try and look younger, increase, water and fillers and everything else that we've talked about. I think it's just like we look at the media as a whole, like be it movies, be it social media, as real life when it's not real life. It is like a movie's a movie for starters. And you need to realise that. It's almost, with all the CGI nowadays, even the normal film's almost animated. It's, and when you look at magazines, it's purely nonsense for entertainment. It's not real life. These people don't look like this 24/7. If you see, if you ever spend time with one of these people and you see them wake up, you realise that's not how they look. And a lot of these guys, after they finish filming, and they go into like stop taking tests or growth hormone or whatever they're taking, and we go into PCT, you go into that post-cycle therapy stage, and we get a little bit softer, a little bit more, dad bod. And then the magazines come out and say, "Oh, look at his dad bod."
We are back. We had a slight technical issue. Nairobi power cut. So we were talking about dad bods, I think.
I was saying, like, you're kind of damned if you're doing, damned if you don't, if you're in the media. Because when you look jacked for film, everyone's like, "Oh, look at that guy, he looks jacked for film." But that's non-sustainable the whole time. Taking the peds, so they've got to come off. And then, we get told we got dad bods. And to take someone like, who was it, Zac Efron, who's a really good-looking guy who, even when he was, he's been really in shape for something like Baywatch, and then he did that TV series on Netflix where he still looked good, had a decent physique still, but it was in all the magazines having a dad bod. It's like,
that's so unrealistic. We're watching Arrow at the moment, and I remember when it came out, and all the women were like, "Oh, he's so gorgeous," and it's that kind of physique is quite hard to keep year round. Like, he is super lean.
Yeah, like very. It's like the Athlean X guy, deficit all year, doing a lot of, like, your training is just volume and burning calories, and it's never. But
he's got 8 seasons. So
you can imagine.
That's hardcore to look like that for seasons.
Good thing, funny thing with films and TV shows is they can film them in quite a short period of time, like an episode a day.
And take a break.
That's the thing. They only film them over a couple of months every year. like 2-3 months. So although it seems like he's lean all the time, he's probably not. He's probably lean, unless he does other films and the other times, you know.
And then also, I guess with professional athletes and actors, one thing guys forget is they have professiontional consultants and medical care and nutritionists.
Let's not confuse, you know, I put a post about professional athletes the other day, and the reason they're lean all the time is their output. It's not to do with, they eat like horses, you know, be a professional athlete. And I was saying, for example, you know, like, you know, top CrossFit women in the CrossFit Games. So like Annie's Fall's daughter.
Oh yeah.
She's got an amazing figure. Like, she's just like, you know, but she eats. You know, if you ever see like what she eats, she just eats all the time. And when we had Sheena Miller on, and she was saying how much she had to eat. And that's the reality. It's just because the output's so high. And you know, that's one thing I wish everyone could learn from things like the Olympics, CrossFit Games, is that, you know, you've got to you know, eat for your performance.
Yeah. I don't know, it's like well, it's the same with bodybuilding, because guys always ask me, oh, how do you get to over 200 grams of protein, or how do you eat every day? And I find it a very hard question to answer, because like, say with me, you and Clea, it's one of those things we just do. It's not really work or because of competing, or it's just the
habit as well. You know, I had this chat with, I was having a good chat with Samson on.
Yes, we were all about this as well.
So we're gonna get to this in a minute. But I was talking. I said, well, yeah, we were just, this is after the session, so we were just.
Sorry, we're using Wi-Fi. That you can hear us now.
Yeah, I can see and hear you again.
Oh, okay.
So so we were just chatting and said people have unreal expectations of what it takes. Like, he's 294 pounds there.
Yeah, no.
So, you know, that takes food. It takes a lot of food. And as we said before, you know, the easy bit's a dieting bit. Although I still have 265 grams of protein in my diet at the moment. Wow. I have my I think my carbs are like 120 grams of carbs. Yeah. I'm literally on 25 grams of rice a meal. That's 2 tablespoons of rice a meal. That's it.
Why don't you go for potatoes? You're in the land of potatoes.
That's
okay. It's like whatever's easiest to cook it on. Like, I burnt my rice the other day because I've got so used to using a rice cooker at home. I forgot I can't just leave it. Yeah. I'm off doing something else. I'm over rice.
I complain about 120 grams of rice. I can imagine.
Yeah, like I can. 25 grams is actually too sweet. I don't mind. I don't complain. You know, I'm lucky to be able to be prepping for anything.
True.
You know, there's a lot of people that, you know, their health won't allow that. But so I do it, and you know, protein's high. Fats a little. See, I have a little higher fat, you see, because of blood glucose issue. So, but yeah, we're right down this. So it's a couple of spoons of rice. But that's the thing, though. People don't realise. We just see the photos on Instagram, and we think, oh yeah, no, that's easy. This is that. This is this. But to grow the muscle, you got to eat, and then you got to suffer a little bit in prep. You know, how much you suffer depends on how long your prep is. The longer your prep is, the less you have to suffer at any one time. Yeah. But you know, you have accumulation then. But one thing we're saying is, like, people who just say, hey, I'm going to turn pro, and we've never done a show, we've never prepped for anything, you know, they're like, you know, it's been created by this sort of social media situation where people think they can just go get a pro card, compete, or you think they can just compete. You know, unless you've been in a couple of cycles of being able to gain muscle, lose muscle, gain muscle, lose muscle, you don't realize, like I always say, gaining is not, but eating constantly, when a meal takes you 45 minutes to eat and it's 11 o'clock at night, you're tired, you want to go to bed, but you still got to get your last meal in because you've been busy with work. It's not fun. It's just not. And especially when that's like really nutrient dense food as well, it takes ages to chew at chicken because you just fed up with chewing chicken. And that's the reality. It's like some days it's just your teeth hurt, your jaw hurts because you've been chewing so much meat. It's like,
yeah, I'm enjoying maintenance. When you say
maintenance, great. Maintenance is the best place. We should all spend time with maintenance.
You've been every day. Leon's like, should I cut? I'm like, why?
It's
you're so happy.
It's just social, like we say, it's a bit of social media pressure. I see, like
he wants to take some shots with his t-shirt off.
No, it's just I see you prepping, then there's
that's true.
Okay, then those father prepping, and I'm like, it'd be nice to just do a small. Then a day later, I'm telling her, I'm happy.
Well, no, it gets to the evening where we're watching Netflix, and he's getting his second bowl of crisps, and I'm like,
this is good.
You're not ready yet.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm enjoying my chocolate when I can, because I try keep it in the evenings, and I'm like, I'm not ready. I'm not there yet. Plus, I'm doing well at 99 to 101 kilos. I feel good.
Yeah,
I feel fit. So every day, I think past 2 weeks, we have this conversation with Clea. I'm like, maybe I should cut. Yeah, it'd be nice. Then in the evening, I'm like, nah.
But we know
after seeing Andy's stories, no.
But you just think like maintenance is such a great goal. Like everyone always thinks it has to either be something super extreme, like shredding, or do something crazy. And it's like literally just being in maintenance is such a great place to be. And
and I think I had a good bulk, so the maintenance is I'm in a perfect spot, to be honest. I never thought I'd be able to say I'm enjoying like a long, good maintenance phase. Strength is up, and
But that's the thing, maintenance is where your performance should be at its best, and you generally feel the best because you're getting enough nutrition to enjoy, enough nutrition to have a decent gym session. Like, sometimes when you're gaining, it's great initially, but then you start, because digestion starts slowing down and things, and you start feeling a bit more uncomfortable when you train. But maintenance is like the perfect, it is what it is. It's the perfect spot. It's like, homeostasis.
Yeah, true. Because I've not had like any sort of plateau or slump in energy moods. It's because everyone is like, even on Instagram DM, it's like, are you bulking or cutting? So I tell guys, no, I mean, sort of I'm just in a recom phase, building. It's going to take longer, but it's still building, but just in a maintenance. And you can see there's sort of question marks, and they're like, how what is he talking about? He's not bulking or cutting. And so there's that where people still don't understand a lot about the maintenance phase. And even like Clea was saying, even a lot of women, maintenance is so amazing for, hormonal health.
Well, I think way more women should spend time in maintenance. The problem is women spend a lot more time in calorie deficit.
Oh yeah.
Very rarely are women in a calorie surplus. Generally, it's women spend majority of their time in a deficit.
Yeah.
And that is where the issue lies.
But I think that the even more problematic than that is it's not even a proper deficit.
No.
Because they don't know how to set it up. So it's like in and then out and then in and then
out. Even in the same day, it's like a deficit all day until the evening when I sit down in front of the TV. And when they're so hungry, you're just picking on everything.
Yeah, and it's just so inefficient. That's why I always say you've almost got to earn your right to be in a deficit.
True.
And just do it properly. And I, whenever I start with a new client, I just tell them up front, you're not going to get, your goal physique in just one fat loss phase. Probably not. Like you said, you've got to go through a few of these cycles, because you'll spend, ideally I'd love everyone to spend 6 months or more at maintenance, but that's just women cannot get past that mental hurdle of that. So it's like minimum.
I also think when people pay for coaches, they see it as like they want to see some sort of result, and with maintenance, with the results that they're getting is ones they can't see.
Yeah.
What they're doing is they're building those good habits and health, internal health. But they can't see that, so they don't care about that. That's the problem. It's a bit like I always say, when you're selling a car, people only care what the car actually looks like.
Yeah.
Everyone goes, "Oh, pop a bonnet up," and I've seen men all pretending like we all know what we're looking at. We don't have a clue, to be honest. So people buy with their eyes, and I think that's the same with anything. Everyone buys with their eyes, and I think a client will want to see results, and that's half the issue because they're not thinking about what's the broader picture. And even if you explain it to them, they still don't understand that. Bit like you'll have, there's always these challenging clients where you say, "Hey, yes, you're losing weight, but I think, let's slow it down a bit because, I know, you're overtraining, under even on what I'm giving you because you just keep going back to type. You want to do more cardio because you want to see results quicker."
Yeah.
But the problem with that is, when you try to explain the whole thyroid situation, the hormone situation, but all they in their mind see is that scale weight slowing down instead of going, "Oh yeah, I'm losing weight." But I have to say, look at me, you've lost weight, but have you changed the way you look really?
Yeah.
But no, I'm just kind of, just sort of skinnier, not any more toned. So, well, yeah, that's because you're just starving yourself and doing too much exercise. Because that's the reality. People just want to see these things that we've been sort of indoctrinated to believe happening, like the scale weight must go down, or I must see abs, or I must see this. When actually, the biggest change should be internal health.
Because I remember I had a client who was like, the weight on the scale is still the same, or it was like a kilo down. Then the next statement was like, "But man, I broke a PR. I feel so strong, and I've been sleeping well. And even yesterday we went for a walk with the kids." And then after that, I'm like, I was doing the check-in, and I'm like, just read that statement again. You said you're not happy with your weight, and then next statement.
Exactly. When everything else is good. That's the point. Like, look at all the other points you think. That is just one point out of all these questions that hasn't changed. Like, everything here is the good stuff. And I say, well, out of all of what we do, the scales are like the least important thing. The least. It's just there as a biofeedback. And I was saying to one of my clients yesterday, I was like, the scales. I find the scales a bit frustrating, which sort of slowed down. I was like, but how do you feel? How do you feel? Do you feel, how lean do you feel? And I said, well, what we're actually going to do is not cut your calories. We're going to do the opposite. I'm going to give you a refeed for 48 hours. Put your calories up. We're not worried too much about the scale. You are in a good place. Let's just have 48 hours. Allow those, if the scales go up even more, great. If they don't, it's also great. If you go down, great. But just eat for 48 hours. Decent amount of food, then we'll see next week.
That really is a mental thing. But I find a lot of women as well, like after being at maintenance, just initially it's really difficult, but then they're like, wow, this is really good in terms of just being quite freeing from always thinking about you have to reduce. And like when their weight sort of plateaus, I'm like, that is a good thing. We want that. If it goes up, even better. You just got to completely change your whole mindset to that. And it's such a rewarding phase. But again, when I start with clients, I'm like, you need to think really long term, like a year or more, of actually achieving what you want to achieve, which will often change during the coaching. Like they'll be, I want to weigh X, but after however many months, they're like, actually it is more how I look and feel rather than weighing a certain number.
Sure.
just I think, again, social media, everyone sees we've discussed before, the 12-week transformations. And I'm like, well, my 12-week transformation will be us getting used to each other. And
I do sometimes blame my own fee structure, the fact that it's either monthly or I do a 3 monthly price. Not because we want to get results in 3 months, but I think maybe I need to look at that, because I think some people think if they pay for that, they're going to see results in those 3 months, and you will see some results, but it may not be the results you expect. It may be, depending on how you are when you come to me, how good are your habits, what you've been doing. Because actually, if your habits are terrible to start with, that's the first thing we've got to do, is get you into good habits. And I spend a lot of time saying in check-ins, like this week, I don't want you to worry about your carbs and fats. Let's just focus on the protein. Let's get the protein up to X, Y, Z, 120 grams, 130 grams, or whatever it is. Let's get it to there. Then we'll start tackling the other stuff the following week. Once I know you can reach that and you can replicate that, then we can do it, start messing around with everything else. So until you're actually eating enough, it's quite hard to do a check-in.
Yeah.
Because I don't, because your tracking's all like this. I don't even really, your steps all like that. I don't really know. We got to get a baseline for your activity and baseline for what you're consuming, and then we can adjust. But when it's up and down and yo-yoing around, it's really hard to. I always say, the biggest skill you can have is consistency.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather you be consistently off and over, but the same every week, or consistently under the same every week. Because then I'll just say, all right, well, you're consistently under. We're just going to reduce your steps by this much, because you're actually constantly eating less than we want. But at least it's consistent. It's the same.
Yeah, true.
It's the same. When it's up and down and yo-yoing around, that's when it's hard to sort of plan.
Yeah, no, completely. But I want to hear more about your posing with Samson.
Yeah, we had a couple of sessions now. That's really good. Yeah, Samson's such a nice guy. We have quite a lot of chats actually about random stuff. So working with Samson. Anyone who doesn't know Samson, there is an episode with him on. I don't know, what season was it? Like 2 back?
4, I think it was 4. Season 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, so really nice guy. So yeah, working with him, great poser. And doing online. And then when I get a chance before the show, I'll probably try and see him face to face.
Wow, that'd be so cool.
So yeah, no, but it's good. I'm like 7 weeks out now. Not coming in too lean at the moment because you don't want to flatten out. So it's going to be kind of to the wire, but purposely done. Although now my carbs have just been slashed and burnt, and like cardio every day. So, but 15,000 steps every day. So I'm doing, but I find 15,000 steps easy. I'm not, do it.
Just walk around Dublin.
Yeah, I think it's easier.
I do it when I'm at home. I do sort of 14,000 on a normal day. Okay. So what it means is I added a break into my morning from work just to get up and walk around the garden twice.
Mm-hmm.
That's then another couple of thousand steps done. So if I go to my evening walk with 5,000 to 6,000 steps already, I'll know I get back from my walk and I'll be over 15,000 steps. Mm-hmm. Like when I'm at home. Here, I think because I walk everywhere here, walk to the shops, like even if I pop up, walk to the gym's going to be, round trip probably 5,000. I'm going to go to the gym twice today. I'll do my training. I'll go back in the evening for some cardio.
Yeah, you're done.
That's good. Yeah.
That's I think you're saying you were looking for some posing shorts.
Yeah.
Because I was like, board shorts, but I forget you have to wear the little.
And
they're hard to get,
in Nairobi, you just can't go into like a Mr. Price and hope they have a.
Yeah, like I was even looking just to go to like Decathlon and buy like speedos. Just to practice. Can't even do that. Yeah. They don't even have speedos anymore because I think the swimwear fashion's changed.
Move from Speedos. Oh, that's a shame.
No, but you find them here.
You go to Matumba.
It's amazing how Mitumba is the only place you will, and they actually know what they are. So yeah,
do they?
Yeah, because Dan, the guy, he did.
Still stained with someone else's tan.
Oh.
Yeah. Luckily
well,
not.
you just hope it is just the tan.
Yeah. No, but yeah, Dan got some because every guy I asked, Wallace, everyone was like, Gikomba, man, like that's like, and I'm like, interesting how that's the only. And when when Dan called this guy, he was like, yeah, I have two, like quick, like they're there, and you're like, wow, it's amazing.
For those who are not familiar with this, these are sort of secondhand clothes markets here.
It's the biggest one
in Kenya.
People don't realize, and this is a funny thing, is like I always laugh in the UK when they do the sort of clothes collections. People think they're giving clothes and we're going to go to some sort of African village.
Oh yeah.
People just don't understand what actually happens. That like they're put into massive auctions and sold off in big job lots, and they turn up in Kenya. Yeah, I did hear organised crime was massively involved in Matumba as well.
Yeah,
there's a lot because there's a lot of money involved in it. This is what basically it's the auctions that make money for the charity. So Oxfam, they sell the clothes or whatever. They make the money from the auction, not that they're just giving clothes to people in villages.
It's amazing. You and it's the thing is you find the designers of designers there. It's not like you find amazing, I think I saw someone with the NPC posing trunks, like the one they give you. And you're like, where is like,
I've seen some great stuff. I've seen guys walking along in the Welsh rugby shirt. Look at this random fella wearing a Welsh rugby shirt. Or like, my favourite is when I see people walking around in something like a Royal Mail jacket or a Tesco's fleece. And it just makes me laugh.
It's because I remember that's where I used to get when I used to play football. My shoes and jerseys. You just tell the guy if you get shoes, Manchester. A friend of mine did get squad shoes. The
thing is, you can probably get some really nice classic football shirts.
Yeah.
Like as in because like when people go put stuff into the charity bag here, it's usually because they don't wear it anymore. So you get some of the really older ones, which are now kind of almost retro. So actually quite vintage. So that's a good thing. You get like a really old Manchester United shirt with Sharp written across the front.
Yeah, I have a Sheffield Wednesday. I don't even know if they still play. When they had the Chupa Chups, the lollipops. So I've kept it it's still neat and folded, but it's one of their first jerseys when they were in the league, and I don't even know if they're anywhere close now. So
I don't think we're not in the higher leagues, but
when I was big in football t-shirts, and it's amazing.
I think the market here is, I just bought a secondhand bicycle, and I love that you can do that here. You can literally get anything. Anyway, so that's my new cardio. And it's very effective.
One thing I want to just ask is like, one thing that baffles me is spin bikes. Why has no one made a comfortable seat for a spin bike? I don't understand.
To be comfortable.
I don't understand. Why the seats have to hurt so much.
They need you to buy the gel covering. That's
gel covers, exactly. It's like, why are they not standard? You can buy gel covers, but why are they not on the saddle as a standard?
I know.
True. They should be.
They are the most uncomfortable.
It is
like when you spend an hour a day doing like, I split mine up, so I would do half hour fasted or 40 minutes. It's kind of 40 minutes because it takes some time to build up head steam. So, but a day, like when I was back in Kenya in my office, the first thing in the morning, just before going to bed at night, before I go from the shower, I do it again. But the seat, like, it's like waking up in the morning knowing you're going to sit on that seat again after being on it the night before. It's like, oh
no, that's
it's hard. It was easy when the Olympics was on because I just like, especially when the cycling's on, I turn it on. With on my spin bike.
You just have to get a nice hand towel, put it there. Otherwise, like
a chop a cushion on there.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I remember trying to do spinning when Trojan was there, and I did 2 classes, and I said,
I used to like spin classes.
It's just the seat.
But you can stand, like on mine.
Yeah, I used to stand a lot.
Yeah.
But when you're doing like steady state cardio,
yeah,
get comfy. But like I used to like spin classes, although a lot of the spin instructors are just making it up as they go along.
Oh, yeah.
And I like one thing I used to do in the UK be like, oh, we're gonna do it, the hills. So you go crank it up, crank it down, crank it up. They were good fun. But like, I think it's just got a bit too crazy now. Some of the gyms here are like so dark and nightclubby. I went round, I went and visited. I'm like squinting my eyes to try to see in the dark. It's like, all right, a bit strange. It's like
it is like clubbing.
Yeah, no, but it is. Yeah, spin classes are interesting when they start making you do crazy curls on a bike. And
no, that was stupid. Like with little dumbbells, and you're like,
see, you don't see that so much in the UK. Is in like the spin instructor certification for a lot of the big spin.
It's expensive.
Really hard.
Yeah,
I was looking at it. I'm like, it is expensive,
and it's cycling. It's not.
Like I got a friend who he sold his gym. He owned a gym in Cheltenham, really good gym. He sold it so he could focus on being a spin instructor in London. He moved. Nice. Suddenly he makes more money as a spin instructor at these high-end spin studios than he ever did as a gym owner. Yeah. And the course is expensive.
Yeah. There was a good spin studio at the Landmark opposite in Karen, and I did a few classes, and the guys were good. Like it was a nice, like you're cycling, it's just cycling. You're not doing, I don't know, abs on the chair.
Well, nowadays it's like anyone who has abs as a PT. It's like anyone's like, oh, I'm a spin instructor now.
And this is what annoys me a little bit, because I had a client and she'd go to the gym and she'd be doing a program, and like one of our gym instructors come over and go, oh, you don't want to do that, and start doing random exercises.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Because what happened is she'd paid for a block of sessions.
Yeah.
But then decided she was going to join up with me. I said, okay, right. If you want to still use your training, just get them to follow the plan. There, but then they want to do extra stuff because they want to show that they're worth their money.
Yeah.
And have them doing overhead cleaning presses and stuff like that. It's like
getting a bit of sweat and burn.
It's true. Yeah. I think all my clients have the ones who go to gyms here, same thing. They've come and they're like, oh, guess what? Trainer came and they're asking me if they can help, why I'm doing this and that. And good thing is that we use the True Coach, and they just go like, I'm following my coach. And it's one of those like, oh.
No, but all they say like, oh, that will never, burn fat for you.
Well, this is what they'll say. Oh, that's a bit basic.
Yeah. You're like,
yes. Same sentiments. It's true.
It's just because people are trying to show you value, but then I've been sent videos of like on a leg press that they're doing with the coach, and they're doing like half reps. I'm like, no, what is that guy even doing with you? Just do full reps.
It is.
Overweight. Bring your knees up towards your chest. So again.
But it is the same. Because I'd say even when starting out, I remember working in the gym, there's that sort of competition, and everyone goes to YouTube to look for the most complicated, because
it looks the most fun in the gym.
Yeah, to come and show clients the next day so other clients can see and think, ooh, I want to do that.
That guy
want to jump.
I would say to clients, like, my training's pretty boring in the sense that you'll do a lot of the same exercises. Block on block, as in like we have some core exercises we want you to progress at. But I'll say what's not boring is the rep ranges, plus the sets, intensifiers, but also the intensity you bring. If you're giving it your all, there's no way you can be bored. If you're pushing yourself to your limits, you shouldn't be bored. 100%. Like I do, a chest press is a chest press. I still do it nearly every single block I train in.
Yeah.
But I'm getting stronger, and it's
Well, you do a variation, and like I often start people out on strength phases, like instead of sort of higher rep ranges, because most women who come to me, that's what they've been doing. They've been doing 15, 20 reps. So we start with now like a 5 to 7, and they find it so hard to adjust to that.
Reduce the volume. Like, but I have people like this moan about sessions being quicker.
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah, maybe, but if you're taking like maximum, it doesn't matter how long your session is. Maximum intensity is maximum intensity. You know, whether that's done on a shorter rep range, so your session finishes soon, or done a longer one with higher volume, by the time you finish your session, you should feel the same way.
Yeah.
Change.
So just a quick one before we wrap up today. So I was just reading more about supplements, and one of them was beta-alanine, and I know it's in pre-workout, but the study was saying that you actually need to take it for sort of, I think it was 7 days before you actually saw the effects. So beta-alanine helps with recovery. Yeah, and because when you train, if you remember from our energy systems episode, you know, if you're using the glycolytic pathway, at some point you feel that kind of burn, that kind of fatigue in your muscles, and those are hydrogen ions that build up, and taking beta-alanine can help with that. But I don't know, have you ever taken it just like on its own?
You can get it as a separate, and I have thought about getting it separate, but I've never taken it outside of a pre-workout.
Same.
I mean, because it's also one of those things in a pre-workout where if you have too much beta-alanine in a pre-workout, it makes you itchy.
Oh yeah.
So if you take too much, you want to literally scratch your face off before you even do something. I get it all the time because I have nerve damage inside, and I get really tired of that. So actually, I try to get lower beta-alanine, to be fair, because I worry about it.
Because I think the study was showing, like, if you take half dose like in the morning and then a half dose in the evening, you don't get that.
So steady.
So, but then I guess it'd be hard to find a pre-workout without.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like, you can get pre-workouts without it now. There's quite a lot without it, but there's a lot with it, and I'm okay with that as long as the dosing's okay.
Yeah.
It's when they go, because it's a cheaper product. So a lot of the pre-workouts have high beta-alanine because it's a vasodilator, so it helps you get a pump as well.
Yeah.
And it helps you be, more vascular. So it's in there for that reason, more for a cosmetic reason than actually for that fatiguing element. It does help with that, but to be overdose it just to fill out the product because it's one of the cheaper components. But and then you get the itchies.
Gosh. It's so interesting how like aesthetics is everywhere, isn't it? Like in your pre-workout, in this and that. So
you'll tell if a product's got really, someone's having a problem with beta-alanine. It's like they'll be like bright red, or it's like the other one, vitamin B, when we put like niacin into products, and you got niacin flush. But because some products will just fill stuff up with non-proper dosed products because it's just cheaper. And when you're looking at building a product, when you go to a product manufacturing company, they also have off-the-shelf things. So a lot of the cheaper pre-workouts you'll see on sale are literally the most basic ones, straight off the shelf, relabeled. When you sit down with a supplement manufacturer, you start changing it. That's when costs go up. And I've been in this process a little bit, so I know. Well, it's like when you're trying to get actually clinically dosed products, the price is a lot higher. And that means even lowering dosing, because when you've lowered certain powders, you've got to increase something else. So a lot of the time it's just easier for cheaper products to pump a load of the headliners in, like beta-alanine, creatine, or really high caffeine. You put those in and people are like, it's got beta-alanine and caffeine really high. Lovely.
That must be good. I was listening to a Mind Pump podcast yesterday, and they're like, the caffeine amount has doubled in pre-workouts in the last 10 years. Like insane. And I'm sure a lot of people drink caffeine, like coffee on top of your pre-workout. Like,
exactly.
Well,
exactly. And this is what the post I did about caffeine in my post, because it has all gone up, and people are drinking. I see people drinking espresso, then going to the gym, taking pre-workout. I've stopped taking caffeinated pre-workouts generally because I train in the evening.
Yeah.
I occasionally do it if I train in the morning, but I work out actually my daily caffeine. I don't drink tea or coffee.
Yeah.
Yesterday I was a little bit naughty. I had an extra can of Monster because
I saw it.
never tried. I didn't even realise what the time was. I drank it and I looked at the water. I was like, shit.
Oh no.
I fell asleep. Great. I still slept. I'm not very caffeine sensitive, but I also forgot I had a green tea from Starbucks.
Oh, jeez.
So I was probably a bit high on caffeine. But normally I will literally have 2 cans of Monster, no pre-workout now.
Yeah.
I'll have a pump formula pre-workout for the evening session. That is it for the day. No tea, no coffee.
I'm guessing your water intake is high too.
Yeah, water intake's always generally high, always over 6 liters as a standard. So I'll be cranking it up a little bit.
Yeah.
But I think the problem there is like people associate gym, oh, I must take pre-workout. There's these certain things that, if you do start training, you're like, oh, well, I must get this without kind of understanding like what is in a pre-workout. Do I need that?
Exactly. I prefer the pump formulas generally. I don't actually.
A non-stim.
It's quite funny. If I feel tired going into the gym, after a few reps, I start waking up anyway.
Yeah.
I've never like gone to do a session. So I'm so tired, I can't do this. I've never, because I wouldn't train if I was that tired. If I've not slept the night before, I'd take an extra rest day.
Yeah.
So I don't need. I love a pre-workout because I like the taste, but. And a lot of and especially a lot of the cheaper ones is just high caffeine. I prefer the pump formulas now because I like to train in the evening now after a few meals. But like I've ordered some supplements here, and if it turns up, I think I'll order Total War in there just because I'm gonna train at different times of the day.
Yeah. Because
see what happens. But then I'll scale down any other caffeine because of that.
Yeah, because I tried. Well, I've never done non-stim pump formula, so
for some reason they're not very well stocked in Kenya.
Yes,
like Pain and Gain barely ever we've never had a pump only product because they're the least sellers.
Yeah,
many people buy them, and people didn't know what they're talking about. I did pick one up though, an EVL one out of Health for You.
Yeah, he sent us a sample and it was amazing because you don't get the highs and lows of caffeine pre-workout, and
you get more. But the thing is, with the caffeinated ones, you don't get a lot of the decent other pump stuff.
Yes.
So you get like filled with caffeine.
Yeah.
But what people don't realize is you look at the caffeine on the back, and that may not be the total caffeine. So you'll see something say caffeine, but then there's like green tea extracts.
Yeah.
Other caffeine things that actually add up the total caffeination amount is really high.
Yeah. So I think
you should have more than 350 in any pre-workout. That's like top.
That's a lot of caffeine.
And now
that is a lot of caffeine.
There's some with up to 900, man.
Well, like the Richie Piano one, the crazy one. I think it's 500.
Yeah, like
I have that. I once took 2 scoops.
That's what
I was taking. No. I had to sit down. I was like, whoa, we got to just have to sit down.
It's like even what Clea said, because I like my coffee, and coffee is it's a drink. I drink it. And then say I have a pre-workout, I used to notice it's like you just have to sit down because you're woozy, but you're psyched up, you're pumped up to go, but you can't, and it just confuses you. And
I've got a client who's trying to get me a sponsorship with Monster in Kenya.
Nice.
He spoke to he knows some people who know people, so he's like, right. I'm always posting about it because I like it, but as I explained, I don't drink tea or coffee.
Yeah.
So therefore, that is my caffeine. 2 cans of my caffeine for the day, and I make sure I time when I have those. So I have them with 2 meals early on. So I'm having them with a meal, just purely because I like the idea of the caffeine fat buffering effect. The science says caffeine can help buffer fat storage. I'm on prep, so I might as well give it a go.
Yeah.
When you have it with a meal. So but then they're in my early 2 meals. And then after, I don't have any for the rest of the day. I may have Coke Zero though, which has a bit of caffeine, but that doesn't touch the sides with me really.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying now not to drink caffeine first thing and have it with a meal. So I wake up and have the EAAs.
I have EAAs, but I have a dissolvable multivitamin I drop in.
Nice.
So the EAAs are hydration, and then I put that get one of those effervescent multivitamins.
Yeah.
So I know my first drink of the day, love vitamins, rehydration, good to go.
Yeah, and it's key. But I think, we talk a lot about supplements, but we've done this for a long time, and we understand them. There's no point just taking supplements for the sake of it, taking your pre-workout for the sake of it, taking EAAs for the sake of it. As always, get your basics first and then think what's going to benefit me more. Like if you're a vegan or vegetarian, then you might be like, okay, creatine and the essential amino acids, that might work for me. If you think you need a pre-workout, you can think about it, but most people don't.
You don't need it. If you drink coffee, you don't need it. Most of the pre-workout, if you've timed your meals right, you also don't really need it.
Yeah.
I always say when I do my client consultations, they ask about supplements. The only supplements you actually should probably have your omega oils, because I know you're not eating enough oily fish.
Mm-hmm.
D3, because I know you work in an office, so you're not out in the sun all day, right? And creatine. And they go, oh, what's a creatine for? And I say, it's nothing to do with your muscles. I said, don't worry about that. That is one thing it's used for. But the science around brain health and degenerative brain conditions, I think it's more important for that just to have for everyone to have every day.
Yeah.
3 grams to 5 grams a day, just for brain health. So, and I'm happy. Well, what about pre-workout? You don't really need it. What about weight? I said the only time I'll tell you to take weight is if you're not hitting your protein targets and you're struggling to get protein in. And I'll say add a little bit of weight to your day and we'll top it up.
Yeah, because otherwise you can spend a fortune. I mean, pre-workout's expensive. And if you're buying this and that, and it's like supplements just take you to the next level by like a couple of percent. And unless you've got the basics first, that they're probably not even going to do anything.
It's to supplement. We're using the titles to supplement your diet. If your diet is good enough, you need less supplementation.
Yeah, and a lot of people on pre-workout and all the supplements don't even train hard enough to benefit from
100%.
Whatever the pre-workout.
I say this all the time. It's a bit like when people ask you for refeeds or cheat days. Well, what have you actually done? It's the point. It's like if you're not training hard enough, you don't need a deload. That's the other thing. It's like if your intensity is high, you need these things, and you'll know you need these things. I always say to people, if you're not begging for a rest day, you're not training hard enough. I need when I get to a rest day, I need that rest day. I'm like, thank God it's a rest day. I feel my body's broken. I've been really, especially these last few months, I've really pushed for something in all my sessions. And when rest days come, I'm just like, thank God, honestly. I need this rest day. Then I'm ready to go again. If you don't have that feeling going into rest day, you're probably not. No, I'm not saying you should always feel that way, but you should know where your intensity of your session goes. And you need people who can say, I don't really need rest days. I'll train 5-6 days a week. Or 7 days a week. Or 2 sessions a day, 5 days a week. It's like, well, you're not probably those sessions training hard enough.
Yeah, there's something lacking for sure. Yeah, so if you're a 6-day, twice a day training, and you're like, I can go for another hour, might be time to check your
because it's not about like the mental part. It's easy. I could train every day, force myself to go to the gym. Literally, my body couldn't handle it. Everything aches.
No, you really don't need to. You really don't need to. And same with supplements. If you've got certain aesthetic and performance goals, they can help you for sure. Like Andy in prep, when calories get so low, then supplements can really, really help.
I do love a multivitamin.
Big time, yeah.
Multivitamins, but I like dissolvable ones because then I can just add to the water, doesn't it?
Yeah, mix it all up. And then like now I'm in a deficit. I found the EAAs, they'll come
I
in
love EAAs.
just push my first meal back. Carb
The only thing to watch with EAA, this is something Dr. Dean told me, is they will spike your blood glucose. Although it's not food, your body has a similar reaction to it.
Okay, interesting.
Amazing.
So if you've got like you're a little bit diabetic, pre-diabetes, you need to be a little bit careful. Because I will have my EAAs and fast my first meal.
Yeah.
Like I tend to have EAAs at bedtime because I know I'm gonna not be eating till 11 and prep. I always try to push back my first meal as far as possible. But you will have blood glucose from the EAAs.
How much do you take in a go?
I never do a full scoop. Except for my intra training, I have a full scoop. But like most of the time, like my pre-bed one's like half a scoop, my morning one's half a scoop.
It's like 5 grams. That's Because it was when we were listening to, I think it was the podcast of Alanine with Dr. What's his name? But... And it was either him or Martin McNutrition about BCAAs and everything, and how everyone's like, oh, well, it must be better if I sip all this stuff throughout the day. But it's like, no, you actually need it to go down.
Yeah.
And you need, so it has to go below a certain threshold and then come up to spike protein synthesis, like building. Because everyone's like, you see all your Fitfluencer cute chicks drinking BCAAs all day. And it's like, I'm muscle building all day. And it's like, no, you're actually not. That is, ironically, the opposite.
And you know what I always say, BCAA sipping all day causes depression because it blocks serotonin and tryptophan uptake. So don't sip BCAAs all day.
Or EAAs all day.
EAAs is probably similar because they've got BCAAs in. Don't be sipping it all day.
Yeah.
But the thing is, you don't get the ready-made EAAs yet. You still get the BCAAs in the can where people will drink them a day. You don't get that with EAAs yet, but the fact is, you need pools and spikes. You're talking about the pool with spike. If it's overflowing, you flooded with EAA.
Maybe one day we'll get someone to talk about digestion, or we can have a short episode on digestion because it seems to be a big part people miss. Sipping drinks all day, eating, grazing all day,
blending food all day, or having just protein shakes.
Yeah,
different protein shakes and actual meals. The enzymes and the chewing, the mastication.
Well, podcast for next week.
Yeah, it could be because
I think who's good on digestion, but we'll work out.
Well, we can give it a crack.
Yeah,
we can give it a crack
because it's the one process I think a lot of people forget, and grazing, the detox,
just eating slowly, like I was saying in the last one. There are so many hormones involved in digestion, and it takes time, for the sort of domino effect. And if you're just eating food quickly, there's so much that can go wrong.
The impact of like digestive disorders like IBS. Is I was just listening to Neil Curry's story this morning, listening to him chat. He was in a show yesterday, had to pull out. He was the first call out.
Looked nice.
Pull out because on stage, as he was doing, his stomach blew up. He's really bad IBS.
Well, no wonder. No wonder.
He's had 2 good shows. He's had to pull out 2 shows because of IBS.
Is that stress related?
It could be. It could be also depletion related, like when suddenly having depleting and hitting yourself with loads of carbs really quickly.
Yeah, because he always, his condition is amazing, and then show day he can't handle it. So
well, I mean, so many digestive disorders are stress related. We've talked about that, but also actually just eating slowly and chewing your food properly can alleviate so much of that.
Giving your food time to digest
and eating regularly, but like it can be consistent. That's what we're talking about. My brother-in-law, my sister's husband, he had to leave the Navy because of his Crohn's disease.
Oh,
He had to have an operation on his stomach. He was a submariner. He was in the submarines because the inconsistency of food or like being under there. It's just he got medically discharged from him. But it got worse because of that. But it's just it can be so bad that it classes as a disability.
Yeah, true.
It can. Like digestive disorders are really horrible.
That's why it annoys me when people talk lightly about things like IBS, like they've got IBS when they haven't. It's just you're eating shit. You don't have IBS. It's like people say I'm lactose intolerant. No, you've just eaten a massive pizza. That's just like this. No.
True.
No, it's
there we go. There's
okay. Well, maybe you'll catch us next week talking about that, because I think it is really important. So, well, I think we'll leave this podcast here. We have chatted for a long time. Alan has held out. Andy, what are you up to today?
Amazing.
I'm going to go train. I'm going to probably get some steps in. I'm going to eat my meals and do the other prep life. I'm in Dublin, so I have a wander around to get the steps in.
Nice.
That sounds like a good day. And I'm
training. I'm resting, man.
You're resting.
Check-ins, rest. I'll get my.
I got check-ins to do actually.
Yeah. So,
you guys, I don't work on the weekend.
I
do a lot of my check-ins on weekends. It's okay for me.
I like Saturday, so that Sunday is just a me day where I don't think about work. But it's
good. Well, hope you enjoy
Dublin.
The gym experience in Dublin, and we will catch everyone next week. I'm gonna go and sip some pump formula.
It is good formula.
Good.
Yeah. See ya next week.